What is up, everybody? My name is Alex. I am your host here on the Swole Friends podcast, as well as the co-founder and COO here at Swolverine. Swolverine is an endurance athlete and active lifestyle brand. We have over 33 different performance powders now and daily health supplements that are all proprietary blend-free, clinically dosed, and scientifically proven effective. We also offer through the Swole Kitchen one-on-one nutrition coaching, online personal training, and competitive fitness programming in the functional and CrossFit space for athletes looking to pursue their ultimate athletic potential. But aside from the company, today, episode 31 is all about perseverance in the pursuit of excellence. Today, I'm joined by Justin Ahrens, and I'm honored to host such a versatile, accomplished, witty, and talented individual. More recently, he's become the program manager of the golf program at HWPO, a PGA professional coach. He is the owner of the Treeline CrossFit Gym in Springfield, Oregon, as well as a father. He's a golf enthusiast and former CrossFit Games athlete, as well as a third-place champion. In this episode, we're not just going to talk about accolades and what I did and didn't do. It's more so how to pursue excellence in all areas of your life, rising the tide for all boats. We'll dive into personal and professional optimization, branding, kissing babies, signing boobs, and getting after it. So, Justin, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you. How's it going?
Wow, that was a lot.
Is it okay?
That was a lot. It was great. Great.
Did you get like your nicknames or like some of the more juicy details of your life?
Yeah, 100%. No, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, hell yeah, that's awesome. So let's like kind of recap what's going on in life right now. You just came off of a golf tournament. You're headed to the CrossFit Games here soon. You're working with HWPO. You're flying all over the place. Give us kind of the scoop on like what's this season been like for you?
Yeah, this season has been my busiest season to date, learning how to balance life. Opening Treeline was by far like incredibly busy and stressful, putting all my eggs in one basket and having no choice but to succeed in being a gym owner and building a community in my hometown. And that was incredibly stressful. But this is a new kind of stress and balance because there's so much potential in something very new to my life. But at the same time, an area that I am not as familiar with. And that is jumping back into like traveling as I once did for so long. I thought I was done. Like I thought I was done traveling, and now I am traveling more than I probably did back when I lived overseas. And that is just because of how frequent it's happening now with everything with HWPO. So this year is by far my busiest. And what has happened is we launched Scott Stallings and I, who's a 13-year PGA Tour vet, 3-time PGA Tour winner, joined forces with Matt Frazier and Sammy and Matt O'Keefe with the HWPO training team and launched what is HWPO Golf. And it is their first sport-specific training. And the goal being that with HWPO continuing to branch out and build a lot more platforms than what is only HWPO CrossFit, Pro, Flagship, whatever it may be, is recognizing that CrossFit in itself is a sport. Golf is a sport. Fight is a sport. Swimming is a sport. Basketball, football, whatever it may be, right? And unfortunately, because HWPO came from what is Matt Frazier and his success in the sport of CrossFit, everyone right now associates HWPO with CrossFit. And so it's going to take some educating, but making it very clear to those that are looking to follow HWPO Golf and understanding that they're not going to be doing CrossFit. Like to an extent they're going to be doing interval-based training 100%, but there are going to be countless movements that golfers will not be doing that CrossFitters do because they shouldn't be doing it. If golf is their priority, they have no business doing it. So I've been busy in the space of traveling usually 1 week out of the month with Scott on tour. and joining forces with Noble, and while on the road with him, because he is the only Noble golfer on the PGA Tour. And so running a lot of classes for Noble, and bringing just a little bit more awareness and education to what is golf specific training and how we differentiate ourselves from your typical fitness program.
Absolutely. And that's a big project ahead, and when I kind of think about you talking about this, I think about the branding associated with Treeline. And so Treeline started, you guys, 2018?
2017.
Close. Okay. So yeah. And if you guys are unfamiliar with Treeline, they also host a Treeline Classic. You guys do a phenomenal job with your branding. I think that's one of the biggest things that attracted us to you, is it was just like, what? Like, their branding kicks ass, right? Like, and Swolverine, what? And so, we're getting all nerdy here, but really, and so I think that's one of the unique things that you also bring to this, right? Not only your knowledge as an athlete, not only your knowledge as a CrossFitter, being in golf, being in that environment, golfing growing up, but also, how to educate the consumer so that they can clearly differentiate, this is this and that's that, and I understand where I'm going to go with it. Right. So what's kind of the vision with the golf section of HWPO? Where do you guys see that? Is it kind of like really high level, or are we just starting high level and then we'll start to trickle down into like the everyday consumer? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, the only reason that we're starting with high level, as far as with looking at Scott Stallings, right, as a PGA Tour vet, is that it's proven with him. But we're not going after PGA Tour players. We're not going after tour players. That will naturally happen as word spreads and as more and more people continue to be exposed to what someone who is at the top level in that sport is doing in order to better their lifestyle and their game. But it's more so the general public, the guys that are 35 to 65 years old, country club players, that when the weather's good, they're playing 3 to 5 days a week. They haven't worked out or done anything fitness related in maybe 5 to 10 years. And it's, hey, I want to be able to carry my golf bag for 18 holes and not have to be in a cart. I want to be able to go on a boys trip and play golf for 3 days straight, and maybe one of those days I'm playing 2 rounds and be okay at the end of that weekend. I want to hit the ball farther. I want to generate more club head speed, but I more importantly just want to be healthier. How do I kill 2 birds with 1 stone, where I get healthier, get fitter, but also do movements that are going to improve my golf game and hopefully prevent injury? Right. Unfortunately, with golf, not unfortunate, but golf is the one sport that you can play the rest of your life. One of few on a daily basis. Right. And so what happens if you've been playing for such a long period of time, you rotate one direction, hundreds of thousands of reps. And so then you're underdeveloped on one side. And so our mindset is, typically in CrossFit, in most functional fitness, you're taught to square up to your target. You're taught not to rotate. And so there's just a portion of the body that is getting untouched. And so for golfers, we need to not only rotate on what is their strong side, the side they stand on, the side of the golf ball, but also on the opposite side. Let's strengthen the side that is not their dominant side in rotation, so that there isn't this imbalance of wondering why, when they reach a certain age, they're having back issues. Because I remember, even to this day, I've had checkups where a doctor or a physio has told me, like, hey, you might have like a minor case of like scoliosis. And it's not that I do, it's that my spine has been moving one direction for so long that it kind of has taken this natural like curvature to it. And so to answer that question, it's not top level, general public golfers. Like, let's just make them better at golf, but healthier and fitter at the same time. And also understanding that if you're a golfer, if I go play golf, I'm going to be on the golf course for 4 to 5 hours, 18 holes, right? I don't have time to spend 2 hours in the gym. How am I efficient with my time? And so the program that we write is a 30 to 45 minute workout in and out, warm up, cool down, everything in between. Yeah.
That's awesome. And definitely, I think, an underserved, appreciated community in a way.
Oh yeah. They've pushed it away for a long time. Golf and fitness just have not, it hasn't meshed well. Even growing up, I was told, don't touch weights. You're going to ruin your flexibility. You're going to get too bulky. And it's going to ruin your golf game. Like, it's just not, it won't help you. And it has slowly been reintroduced as something that is okay to do. But now there's all these people that are playing golf, but they just don't know what to do. Like, majority of country clubs have a fitness facility. But if you walk up there, the only things that are being used are the bike and the elliptical and the treadmill. Like,
so look at the golf course while you're.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at the golf course, but nothing that is like weight related or anything like mobility related is being touched, because no one just knows what to do.
Yeah.
They just haven't been educated. And so it's going to definitely take some educating.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice to have like a hybrid athlete like yourself, right? Who can bring a little bit of perspective into it, a little bit of like the functional fitness modalities where, you know, just preventing it, injury, and then having a big company behind you, like Noble, right? To be like, hey, we see what you're doing. We know what's going on. And that's kind of the funny thing, you know, even here at Swolverine, is like golf in the NCAA world is the most approached, or I guess most involved sport that we're in, right?
Wow.
And
yeah.
it's like a lot of the trainers come to us and they're like, we don't have anything. We don't, you know, we have this budget, but nobody cares what we have it on, or nobody cares what we do. And like, my athletes need blank because they're athletes, not just like crashing golf courts, like carts, right? And like you see on social media and just slamming beers with the boys. I mean, yeah, sure, that's part of it.
Yeah.
But it's also something you want to do when you're 70 or 80, right? And not have your hip or your knee go out. So I think that's really cool. To put the travel thing in perspective for you guys as our listeners, Justin, give us a scoop on how much you have traveled and like living abroad and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I was overseas. I was in Dubai for 6 years. When I graduated college, I knew I didn't want to pursue golf anymore after playing through college. I was burnt out, and essentially I hung up the sticks and I left them home. I didn't even bring them with me overseas when I originally left. I was in Dubai for 6 years. Originally to teach elementary school. Was right place, right time. CrossFit had not reached that space yet, or that part of the globe, and was approached to help open up a few CrossFit gyms over there, and stuck around and ended up managing and head coaching one of the facilities. Was there far longer than I anticipated being. I was there planning on being there for 3 years, and again, right place, right time. Was approached by Sheikh Majid, who is in charge of what is now the Dubai CrossFit or Dubai Fitness Championship, and worked with him, as well as Princess Hessa, Sheikha Hessa out there, who opened up Aliyah, which is a kind of a more well-known CrossFit gym in Dubai. Like, anytime anyone sees filming going on of all the major CrossFit athletes out in that space, they're at her gym. And so after 6 years there, the goal was save up enough cash to come home and open my own facility and work for myself. And while I was there, I was fortunate enough to visit nearly 40 countries. And like I said, I thought I was done traveling. And then now I'm back on the road a lot, but it is far less than Scott himself. I think what a lot of people don't realize for a professional golfer is they look at it as, that's awesome. Like, someone gets to play golf for a living. They're going to play 4 rounds of golf on the weekend, and then they can go home, do whatever they want, blah, blah, blah. Scott last year slept in his own bed 60 days out of the year. Like, no, thank you. Like, you're going from one space, one golf course or location, and you're immediately taking everything with you to the next one on the road. And I don't even, no thanks at all.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Well, and that's a big piece of like overall health and fitness and injury prevention is like sleeping and recovery and how are you eating? And people are like, oh, I can't count macros on my vacation 3 days to Mexico, but then you take like a professional athlete and it's like, I have no home base. What am I going to do? Right.
Yeah.
So it's really that level of like, what are you going to do to make it happen?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm like, to go back to the travel stuff, like I make it sound like it's like a lot for me, but I'm very fortunate, right? Like I have lived an incredible life overseas where I got to see the world and I got to check those boxes like early in my life. There were very much so points early in that phase when I first got out there that I thought, what have I done? Like major culture shock of like, I made the wrong decision, 100%. And multiple times thought I was just going to come home and give up on it. Like a lot of things went wrong with a new company that I was with over there that made me doubt that I could actually like withstand it all. But looking back on it, I became a much stronger individual and person from all of my experiences over there. And it led full circle. That's where I met O'Keefe. Like he was out there when he was back then representing Brooke Ends, and she came out to compete. And I was hosting Brooke and O'Keefe, and we spent the week and a half together, kept in touch over the years in the CrossFit space, constantly crossed paths at different competitions, Wadapalooza, CrossFit Games and sorts. And then to reach out and be talking about golf randomly. And now we're here. Like, yeah, wild, full circle, crazy.
Well, it's kind of like that idea of resiliency, right? And then really like digging deep into like kind of all the shit that makes you, right? And like kind of digging into like the pits of your own hells and really evoking, what are the demons I'm facing? What is the inner voice saying? What's the kind of the bullshit narrative that I'm telling myself that I can't do this, right? And we all face that. We all face that, whether, in profession, personal. What were some of the things that you anchored into when you were overseas that kept you from giving up? Was it family? Was it friends? Was it, I've just got to do this? Is it like beating down your ego? Like what happened to kind of be that catalyst to like, I can do this?
Yeah, it definitely was a lot went back to family and those that were my closest of friends that I left. But my dad in particular, like the few conversations that I had with him during those moments, and even like when it led to going, I had like a 48-hour period when I was offered my contract to go to make a decision. And, he just constantly reminded me that, listen, your friends are going to all be doing the same things when you come back to visit. They're going to be going to the same bars. They're going to be doing the same activities. And a lot of them are going to wish that they had the opportunity that you had to go do right now. Would they have said yes or would they have said no? Who knows? But you have the opportunity in front of you and you can do anything for 3 years. Like, and then let's just get into the finances, Jay. Like, you're going to be making more money than I make. This is my dad talking to me, right? Like, you're going to be making more money than I make, tax-free cash, like straight out of college. Go make some money, live, see the world, and then start to make some decisions like in life. But a lot of it was constantly talking to him and kind of tap into his brain about it. He left when he graduated high school. He left home right away and moved away for college, moved across the country as soon as he graduated college. And so he had his own experiences in leaving what was comfortable and what was home and going out on his own. And I could kind of tap into that with him. But yeah, it definitely meant finding a community out there that I could attach myself to. Mm-hmm. But I was also very, very young. I was incredibly young compared to the majority of people that were working in Dubai as teachers at the time and coaches. But
how old were you? Like 22?
Yeah. 22. 2010 is when I went out there. 23. Yeah.
We do have a VIP visitor here, Miss Patty.
Yeah, that's mom.
Wondering if Patty's more famous than Justin. Hi, Mom.
out in South Carolina. I'll be seeing her in less than a week.
For our audio listeners, we put up a comment here. It just says, "Hey, Justin, I was going to ask you, is your mom as famous as you are?"
Yeah. We don't need to go into what mom is famous for, but yes.
We'll have Patty. We'll have
that conversation later.
We'll have your own episode. Don't worry. Oh my gosh, that's pretty great. So, young athletes, being young in life, really just like facing the obstacles, right, and letting the obstacle become the way. And she says, "Hi, kids."
If you keep taking the bait, if it posting stuff like that about her talking, she's not gonna shut up. So you better just.
That signals a good mom, though. If a mom's not here to embarrass you, like, I don't know, I should be like, "Hey, mom, where's my mom?" He was a huge baby.
I was 10.5 pounds.
Oh, I was 9.5. Yeah. That's gnarly. Oh, so young athletes. Let's get into young athletes. I feel like that's a hot topic right now. More so from, the sport getting younger and younger. Athletes facing mental. All right, I've got to put it up. I'm sorry. I took the bait. Patty says, "I'm famous for giving birth to that 10.5 pound baby." Patty, I'm going to give you an air high five. That was good. Uh-oh, the beer's coming out.
Yeah.
It's just a rain. There's
just
no
rain.
It's only 11 a.m. here. But yeah, so like young athletes getting into kind of the environment of mental health, pushing the bounds of potential, sacrificing, giving up, trading off social situations, college, doing a job, making it a job in an industry that is not quite there. At least for the majority of athletes. What type of advice or what have you seen, whether within yourself, whether owning the gym or just being in the community at large, pros and cons for athletes, and what type of advice do you give your younger athletes that you coach?
I'll start with advice, and that is to try and find balance early. I think that the big thing with athletes that jump into, let's just say, even like the sport of CrossFit early, and I was a victim of this very early when I jumped into it, is I felt like I was behind. I jumped into the sport of fitness very late. I had gone through college and didn't really start working out until halfway through college. And then I became in love with working out for self-confidence reasons, as well as just the endorphin rush that I received from it. And I saw a ton of progress quickly. And then I graduated and I found CrossFit, and it filled this void of competition in my life that golf had been providing. And I was willing and ready to hang up. And so I almost felt like, and I grew up also with Ben Stoneberg, who is a CrossFit Games vet who's gone 5 times himself, but he's probably like known for being the athlete that has maybe gone the most that no one really knows much about, because he's just so quiet and to himself. And he part-time coaches at Treeline, has been since day one. And so I grew up with him, and him going and being to the games and seeing what he had been doing. And I know what he was doing in order to get there, and thinking to myself, like, I'm so far behind. Like, I have to do 5 different things a day to start and catch up. And I was lucky that I didn't get seriously hurt during those phases of my life. Like I think I fell victim to doing way too much early, and feeling like I was playing catch up, instead of bringing just as much intensity as I could to much less, instead of just doing things to do them. And so I think finding balance is going to be the biggest thing. I think understanding that you still have a life to live outside of training, and you can still enjoy those things and moments with those people that you consider close to you, and still be able to work towards goals. I think if you fully invest yourself in one thing. Yes, I'm a big believer in setting goals and achieving those goals, but being patient in time to achieve them is super important. And understanding that, like, I try to talk to a lot of athletes that I've programmed for over the years. And my big thing is, like, you're not a slave to the program. Like, the program is written, yes, and it has structure, yes. But if there comes a particular day that you walk in and you are so unmotivated to do what is written in front of you, but you've got two friends that walked in, or maybe they're from out of town and they want to, and you gotta want to write something up together that's going to excite you to, like, do as a workout for the day, and you're going to bring some intensity to that. Heck, take a day off from your day-to-day program and jump in and have fun. Like, get back to what is the roots, because if it's not fun and it turns into feeling like it is work, you're not going to see the progress as quickly as you want to. Sure, there's structure in your strength blocks and whatnot to, like, see lifts increase, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of, like, conditioning, as long as we're constantly varying it, like, and we're bringing intensity to it, like, you're going to see results quickly. And to just have fun. Yeah.
I like that. And I think it's hard to, I mentioned the professional aspect of the sport, right? And growing and endorsements and, like, I'm going to trade off going to school, so this is going to be my job for the next 10 years. And I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. I think that it's not unreasonable per se. Yeah. Right. But it does kind of add this element of, like, why am I doing this? Right. And I mean, in CrossFit in general, we always have that credo, why. In life, we have to have that why. We have to have that mission statement almost. And, with branding, if we bring it back to business, like, we can all have a mission statement for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we can always change that mission statement through time, right? Be flexible about the method, stubborn about the goal. Okay, you want to go to the CrossFit Games? Great. Be flexible about how you're going to get there, because it might not be the way you set it out to be from the beginning. Right?
Yeah, I think of the CrossFit space too. Like, I think a lot of people that enter the space with the goal of going to the CrossFit Games, like, the majority don't fully understand how hard that is to achieve. Mm-hmm. Because we still look at this as it is still a very small sport in the grand scheme of things when it comes to sport in general, right? Yeah. But the amount of time that it truly is going to take to get to a position that you are strong enough in every aspect of CrossFit, so that truly, no matter what event or workout is thrown at you, that it won't influence you going or not, is going to take a lot of time. You're going to have your guys that pop, they're relevant maybe once, right? Maybe they just got lucky in what was programmed that particular year to get there. But in order compared to the guys that have been 5, 6, 7 times, like, those are the guys that are proven that it doesn't matter what you throw at me, I'm going to continue to, like, get there. Mm-hmm. Like, type of thing. And those are the guys that have found balance, but they've also been patient enough to make sure that every single part of their game is at a high enough level to be relevant.
Yeah. And I mean, kind of going back to, like, our original kind of idea of, like, pursuing perseverance in the pursuit of excellence. Like, you can pursue this performance potential or this performance lifestyle in everything you do. It doesn't just have to be CrossFit, right? And the idea of CrossFit, I think, that falls by the wayside these days, because it's just almost like a saying, is, like, the fittest, right? The fittest at every challenge and the fittest at every adversity you face. And there shouldn't be wheelhouse workouts. There shouldn't be these things where you're like, oh, well, I do this so much better than the other. Obviously, that's going to happen because it takes years to not do that. Mm-hmm. But it's not, even for someone like yourself, like, seeing what happens in the shadows to get where you've gotten, right? Did you ever set out to be a CrossFit Games athlete? Did you, you've been in the CrossFit Games twice. You've been on a team. You guys got 3rd place with CrossFit for Vancouver in, what was that, 2017?
17. Yeah.
And then you went as an individual last year as a master's athlete. Yeah. You've been there almost twice. Individually other times. I mean, you own an affiliate, you're very immersed in the sport, but was that a goal, or was that a byproduct of just immersing yourself into things?
I've always said that I'm a coach first, athlete second. I truly believe that I'm more so called to be a coach than I am to be an athlete. Like, I think that but I also was not naive to the fact that I knew that being an athlete in the sport was not going to pay my bills. Mm-hmm. Like, so yeah, there was a point when it was a goal to, I want to make it to the CrossFit Games. I want to prove that to myself that I have the ability to do that. But if there comes a point in my life where I have to make a decision of which road to take, as far as, okay, you have an opportunity in front of you to be successful in this space and actually start to make a living for yourself and like set that path for the next 10, 20, 30 years, or attain that one goal for that one moment, like bigger picture for me. Like, I mean, in all reality, when I was in Dubai and immersed in it and was in the gym from opening until close, and I wasn't spending much time doing anything else really, other than when I was traveling from time to time. Everyone that I surrounded myself with was in that space. It became very easy to just be locked into, I'm going to go to regionals and my goal is to make the CrossFit Games from my region. Once I moved back, I was pretty much all in on opening Treeline and making Treeline successful. I moved to Portland, thought Portland was going to be where Treeline was, because I had a ton of contact and friends that worked at Nike world headquarters, and there wasn't a good, solid CrossFit affiliate there providing enough for a lot of those people and employees. Couldn't find space, had door after door shut on me, and took part-time coaching work at Fort Vancouver as well as down in the Pearl District. And time continued to pass, and we got to late fall, early winter. And I remember Jess Core, who was one of my teammates, and Adam Knifer, who owns CrossFit Fort Vancouver and is Justin Medeiros' coach, finally kind of pulled me aside and were like, hey, like, what's the deal? Like, are you going individual and going to still try and like find space and open Treeline here in the near future, or you ready to go team with us? Like, and for me, I always knew that I wouldn't mind going team. I wanted to go team as long as it was with one of the teams met one of two standards. One, I knew personally I wasn't fit enough to make it as an individual anymore, but I was with 5 other people that I truly loved spending time with, because the amount of training that I knew that I was going to be spending with these individuals, like, last thing I wanted to do was dread the people that I was with. Or 2, I knew we actually had a legitimate chance to win. Like, I don't like losing. I'm incredibly competitive. Like, I don't enjoy it, and they checked both boxes. Like, those 5 people, that was one of the most fun years of my life to date. Like, as far as the time that I spent with them, and the chemistry we had, we were the only one of very few teams that was not a super team. It wasn't pre-built, pre-structured. We were 6 people that worked out of the same gym, and we just happened to mesh really well. And yeah, and it was just a really successful year. Like, could we have maybe placed slightly better than 3rd? We maybe could have maybe, if a couple events went our way, gotten 2nd that year, maybe, but there was no way we were touching Brute that year. Yeah, that was an absolute blast of a year. And that kind of just happened. It wasn't, once we committed to one another, then yes, we trained for it. And once I was content with putting Treeline on hold, I also had a very, very hard time accepting the fact that Treeline was probably meant to be back home, meaning Eugene, Springfield. I had a very hard time like sitting down and actually being okay with that, because I knew it was going to come with, unfortunately, some lost relationships with other owners in the area that I had built relationships with and built friendships with, coming home and visiting home. And it would be taken and perceived as this, how could you open a competitor amongst us and your friends, and me having to accept the fact that I believe there's room for more facilities here. If we're all trying to do the same thing, we're just going to improve each other's business. I'm not trying to take people from you or you take people from me. As soon as I accepted coming home and opening Treeline, I could put that aside for a few months and focus on training with Fort Vancouver and truly giving that as much as I could, which I think was probably more than I had given it to date, because I had 5 other people that I felt that were relying on me as well to stay motivated.
Well, and for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, Portland is like 3 or 4 hours from Eugene.
Yeah. 2 hours north. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, Oregon's a huge state. So it's not like an easy, like, oh, I'm going to go home and do this. Like, it's like, I am going to have to trade off some of these things in my life that I really enjoy to do. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's not a very big place. I mean, Eugene's pretty big, but Springfield's right outside of it. And it's
right.
I mean, I would argue it's not a very big place.
Yeah. Small town.
Yeah. And it's kind of, especially for if anyone are affiliate owners or like people who are considering opening a gym, or you live in a small place and you're concerned about those types of things, paradigms do exist and silos do exist, unfortunately. And as much as we can tout community in CrossFit, it's not always seen that way in a business perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's kind of where it's like the meeting of the minds versus the intimidation of the mind, right? And how can we come together to serve the greater good rather than, it's for me. Oh, it's for my gym. Yeah. Oh, it's for my people. And I think that that's like something I could probably soapbox about, but you could probably soapbox about it harder. It's just an unfortunate thing, right? Like, we are here to elevate people to chase their human potential. And that's different for everyone. Right. And community is one of those things where if you join a gym, like, you've got to vibe with that community. That's got to be your people. And if there's not, there's got to be somewhere else that you can go. Right. So you don't shut the door as business owners on people who are trying to improve their health, fitness, or wellness. Right.
Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, the majority of gyms, we can all fall victim of it as gym owners and coaches. Is it's very easy to get very complacent with like what you're providing. And because of, unfortunately, especially in a CrossFit space, because that community is built, it's very easy for coaches and owners to get complacent in the fact that the community's built and they are keeping my community here. They are happy with what I'm providing. Instead of, how can I continue to offer more and better the experience for my membership? And it's hard, and it's hard to watch from the outside looking in, because the last thing you want to see is a coach getting burnt out. I've been burnt out. I mean, it's easy to do, right? You go through the motions, and it's hard to bring energy back to back classes. Like, what memberships forget is that the coach has a life too. They've got issues that are going on in their life. And they're trying to leave them outside those walls to provide the best hour for you as possible. But the roller coaster of a coach's emotions on back-to-back class, cool, I'm going to ramp this class up and bring some serious energy, and I'm going to cool them down, wind them down. Bye. New group. Ramp them up, bring energy, bring the vibes, cool them down. Bye. Like, type of thing. It's just very easy for a coach to get burnt out if they don't have support in their system or at their facility to cycle them in and out and make sure that they are still on fire for what they're doing and providing.
Yeah. And providing like that structure and that support, especially from the leadership standpoint. I mean, we all know in the smaller communities, like, you're the leader, you coach the classes, you're the majority, right? Like, a lot of people don't have the business established enough or the finances to have a manager, to have 5 coaches, or to have a lot of different things. And that's what you have to build over time. Mm-hmm. Right? You also can't build it by like sticking yourself on the railroad tracks and self-sacrificing. Right. Yeah. So there's also got to be this level of like, okay, how do I, self-preserve in the pursuit of that delivery to the consumer, to the, we'll say member, it's less formal. But, and when you started Treeline, I mean, who rallied with you? Did you have anyone who could rally with you, or was it just like you versus you and you're like, hi, I have this awesome gym and all this experience and come play?
Yeah, I didn't bring on another part-time coach for the first 2 years. I was there from 5 a.m. until 8 p.m. every single day and wore all the hats, cleaned the gym, coached every single class, was there during the hours that, I was open classes, but no one showed up. Like those were mentally testing moments of no one's here. Like, is this going to work? Rallied to market Treeline early. How many founding father members could I get inside our walls before opening day to make sure that I could keep the lights on, since I knew I wasn't going to be paying myself for quite some time. And so we had 60 members before we opened our doors. And then, so day one, we had 60 members and shuffling classes. I remember 5:30 a.m. class. My dad used to be in great shape. He used to do CrossFit hardcore when I was overseas. He stopped, got complacent with how his lifestyle was, got very burnt out working 2 jobs. No longer could bring reason to like wake up early to go get his workout in because he just needed sleep. And then I opened and he got wind that no one was there the first couple of days at the 5:30 a.m. class. So then dad started showing up alone. I remember the first day he walked in and it's like, dude, what are you doing here? And he's like, here to work out? I'm like, you don't work out anymore. Like, I'm not an idiot. And he goes, let's go. Let's work out. Let's do it. And he would like he'd have conversations with imaginary people during the warm up. Like, hey, Randy, how your legs feeling from yesterday's wall balls? Mine are smoked, like type of thing. I'm like, dude, go home and go to bed. He's like, I'm already awake. I'm not going home and going to bed now. As soon as we had at least 5 consistent people in that class, Pops disappeared. Like, but he was there to like support his son. Like he was there to like be there, be supportive. But yeah, those first 2 years took a lot of mental hurdles and speed bumps that I ran into and had to climb over. Didn't always climb over them well. I mean, I need to at some point find that balance, and I didn't find that balance as quick as I should have. But I also believed that I had to. I had to say yes to everything because I felt like had I not, that the business might have potentially taken a hit or suffered, and I had to make sure Treeline was successful. It was what I put everything into. Yeah.
What have been some of the best moments of owning the gym?
I'm biased, but the community that's been built.
You guys got a kick-ass community.
It is.
You guys have a phenomenal, and you have for years. Oh my God. Like,
it is. From the outside looking in, a lot of people, especially in town, look at it as intimidating as the competitor's gym.
Yeah.
Because we do have some high level athletes.
Mm-hmm.
But all someone needs to do is seriously walk through our walls and realize that there are no egos like there on who is high level or not. We have worked so hard from day one to make sure that I have been a part of too many gyms where the CrossFit Games athlete is not participating in anything that's going on inside those walls. They're stuck in their corner doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. Or someone that isn't a CrossFit Games athlete, but just believes that the whiteboard, what says the workout is for that particular day, isn't enough for them. And we have worked so hard to make sure that our top level athletes, and for the longest time, that was Ben and myself, we were writing a program that we were also doing every single day. Like that the membership could walk up to the whiteboard and see our names as well. Mm-hmm. And so, and realizing that a lot of people look at it and they go, well, that program is too hard. It's not too hard if your coaches are trained in a manner to make sure that they're actually going to do their job and coach and like modify accordingly. That's the standard that hopefully everyone is working towards. How do I then level down, but still hold Chelsea accountable, hold Alex accountable, hold whoever accountable to whatever level they're at. How do I hold them to make sure they aren't too watered down? They're still getting challenged to their ability, but that every single person can do what's written on that whiteboard and walk away and be like, that was satisfying. Like, that kicked my butt type of thing. And no one walk away thinking, I could have done more, or I wish I was challenged in more on that particular day.
Or, oh, I scaled.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Write my name on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
What? Why? Where did that mentality come from? Because that didn't come from the person.
Yeah.
That comes from the community, that comes from the coaches, that comes from the leadership, right? Where it's like, no, you are good enough. We have these 5 modifications for this for a reason. And wherever you fit in, we're still doing the idea of the same movement, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's,
100%.
it's a big pet peeve. Oh, what's up, Rick? Gosh, that guy's handsome. Ricky G.
I think the community, I think you realize that when people walk in,
you just
that
get embarrassed.
yeah. Okay. So when people walk in, I think they automatically realize that our membership isn't going to leave you out on an island. Mm-mm. Someone's going to notice that they don't recognize you, and they're going to immediately start chatting you up and find out what your story is, where you're from, what you do for a living. Are you trying things out? Are you a drop-in from out of town? Whatever it may be. Like, no one sees someone that's kind of like looking around, wondering what's going on, and doesn't approach them. Like, it is, and I have been a part of places that is how it feels. And CrossFit is intimidating as itself, by itself, like walking in those walls. And that's why we live by a certain motto. Like, we truly, like, it gets, it's a broken record feel. But we often say, just show up. Like, step 1 is just show up. And I get constant people reaching out of, hey, I want to try things out, like this and that, lots of questions. And my first response is just show up. Just walk through our doors and let's have this conversation in person, and let's show you the facility and get you familiar with what's going on.
Well, and just as much as you can talk yourself out of anything, like, you can also talk yourself into something.
Yeah.
Right. And you can also be there and be present. And yeah. And I mean, if Rick were a coach here, Rick would say, would you rather have legs as long fingers or fingers as long legs? That would be his icebreaker.
Well, that's why Rick does not ask the question of the day at our whiteboard.
Rick, you just got demoted. Just so you know. We appreciate you, but 4:30 is off the board. Okay. Oh, that's pretty great. You guys also, so you've hosted the Treeline Classic. So a little backstory for anyone out there who's listening. Jay, we met, 5 years ago. I mean, I remember watching you compete at the Fort Vancouver Championship. Giant ass mustache, and just like sweating, just a giant mustache. I'm just kidding. I don't have an opinion on that, but I do remember that part. And I was like, this guy's super intimidating. And then I'd be like, here's your box of carbohydrates, sir. Now we're sitting here just bullshitting on a podcast. But yeah, I mean, back to that day, Justin does carry the Swolverine products at the gym. He has for years. He's participated in the development of the clean carbs, which is pretty great. He's the reason why we introduced the clean carbs. For anyone who wants to know a fun story about Swolverine.
Yeah, it's a fun backstory.
But yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of, just conversation back and forth about how can we be better, right? And how can we rise the tide for all the boats, and how can we deliver the best product or best coaching service possible. And it's been a really unique opportunity to partner with you. And through the years, we've been at the Treeline Classic.
Yeah.
For a lot of box owners, I think the idea of hosting a competition is really cool. It's really exciting. It's like, oh my gosh, we could do our own thing. We could have our shirts. We could do this. We could do that. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy fuck, this is not as fun as we thought it was. And for our audio listeners, his face is telling me that I am saying the right things right now. So it's hard stuff. And you guys have done it for a few years. And can you walk us through kind of the good, the bad, the ugly, the fun, the not fun, the do it or don't do it? Like, walk us through that if somebody's thinking about doing it.
We've gone full circle now, where we hosted it at Treeline for the first 2 years. We felt we grew big enough that we could host it off-site and started to host it at a local turf field for the last 3. And then this year we brought it back to Treeline. I went into this year content that it was going to be the last year. Like, I went into it thinking this just, it's, as much as I enjoy what it provides the community, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Like, the return on it for the gym was so minimal when we took it off site, because I also want it to truly be worth it for the athletes. Like, we're one of few in the region that host an event that actually pays out some pretty good cash money. Like, the majority of events, what's that?
And prizes and money. It's not even just money prizes. I mean, it's both. And it's like, sorry. I mean, it's just, I watch too many that the first place doesn't even make back their entry fee. Like, and it's kind of like, I understand it's part of the experience as well, but at the same time, come on, like, and so that frustrated me moving back and seeing that happen. And so I wanted to be able to provide more. But after paying everyone last year and paying for everything, we got pushed into renting 2 fields last year, even though we were using 1. The work it took to move the entire gym off-site and then bring it all back and put it back together overnight, incredibly hard, and just exhausting. And so we finally just said, hey, let's test if Treeline can Treeline host it? Like, are we still at a place that we can host it at the gym and just be creative with it? Can we be timely? And I walked away from it like, yeah, we can keep doing this if we keep it here. Like, if we keep it on site, we can keep doing it. But it is a lot of work, and I could not do it without. I have a team of 5 that lead different departments, essentially, that are whether it's in charge of athlete control, equipment, judges, whatever it may be, and them taking the leads on that day, like, is huge. And that also goes back to Treeline in general. Amanda, who is like my person, right? Like, she is awesome. Like, she fell into my lap, and I know that she'll probably say the same thing in return, that like I fell into hers just based on where she was at in her life. Talk about like 2 worlds colliding at the right time. That was right when I was about to have my twins, and was thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to find this balance of being a new father of 2 and still be present at the gym through this? And we rubbed shoulders with the same individual, Chelsea Hughes, who's been in the CrossFit space for a very long time. And Amanda worked at Brick for forever in WeHo, until her and her husband decided to move here for him to go to law school. And she thought she was burnt out on coaching and took some time off, and realized it was something that she truly missed and wanted to be a part of if she could find the right space. And she called, and we set up a meeting, and it was love at first sight, with, as far as like on a business perspective and a coaching perspective. It was so easy of a transition in having the confidence that I have forever wanted to be able to give another person the lead. It's like a business owner's dream. I mean, like, even seeing you guys interact, like, it's kinetic. It's like, I remember the first time I met Amanda, I was like, oh, I want an Amanda.
It is incredible. Like, she just jumped all in from the get-go. we've been fully transparent with each other of where the business is at and like how we could afford to start her and where we want her to eventually be, and moved her from hourly when she came on staff to now she's a full-time salary employee and taking over more and more responsibilities. But her and I just like, we're so connected that we don't even need to like communicate a whole lot we just kind of know what the other person's going to say, like before they say it. Yeah, she's a special breed, and I will take as much time as I can get with her. And I hope it's for a very long time, but yeah, that was right place, right time. I would not have been able to pursue the HWPO stuff if it wasn't for her. Like that would have been never something that I could say yes to.
Well, kind of like this, like undercurrent here, I think in the podcast is like, or in the recording is this idea of seasons, right? And this idea of like being fully immersed and like present in the seasons, even if they're not exactly what you want, right? Like you're trying to open Treeline, you're in the season of like, holy shit, I have this opportunity with Adam and all these amazing people here in my group. And like, it's just going to be a couple months and I just got to like be here and be present. You're never going to have another opportunity like that in your life. In a moment to be able to like pull back and like really recognize like, shit, like this is a big deal. This is going to be a big deal in my life. Maybe not, you know, whatever happens with games, this kind of thing. But like, wow, this is never going to repeat itself, you know? And I think that's something that's really often overlooked, like in our lives or in fitness or in health and wellness or whatever it is, having kids, our interactions with our parents, like you could put whatever you want into that. And it's this idea of just being really immersed and present and like savoring, right? And we talked about food, like bite into that apple and feel it be juicy, feel like the rind being crunchy, right? And being really like immersed in that. And then you're just like, fuck, this is such a good apple. But how often do we do that in life? And that's like now I'm going to drop hard F-bombs here. Like that's a fucked up part of our life and like society. And we're just like, yeah. Next, like next person, do this, do that. Cool. High five. Like, whoa. Like, let's just take a step back. I mean, like right here in the moment, you just got so into explaining what a blessing Amanda is for you in the community. You know, and here in the comments, people are like riddling off like, Amanda's the best, definitely my favorite coach, this, that, and the other. And it's like, let's just like take moments for these things. And you mentioned that you were going to become a father. For anyone who doesn't know, Justin's the father of two amazing, beautiful baby twins. They're not babies anymore, I guess. They're going to be 4 and what'd you say, September?
September, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like time's flying, but you want time to go by. You want to have the opportunity to watch those kiddos go through life, right? And I think a lot of times that's the narrative we miss. And so what have been the challenges for you as a father? Were you scared? Were you intimidated? Were you like, what the fuck did I do? Was it the best thing ever? Did the gym fall by the wayside? Like, how are you handling that? Traveling? Like, oh my gosh, give me the scoop.
Yeah. The kids are awesome. The kids are little celebrities at the gym. They run that place. They have so many aunts and uncles that are running around there. They are so excited every time they go to the gym to see who is going to be there that they get to run up and play with, give a hug, whatever it may be. That is a balance I am also trying to find, right? We revert back to how we started this conversation and podcast of like, this season has been the hardest in finding that balance of how do I continue to be present and be the best father that I can be to 2 incredible kids who are hitting milestones every week, every other week, and whatever they're doing, capable of doing, but at the same time being present with the business that is here and trying to build something new to be as successful as we believe it can be. And that has been tough because I haven't been a father before. Like, I mean, there are plenty of times that during these last 4 years that the 2 of them have been off the freaking wall, or one of them has been great and the other one has been awful. And I'm thinking like, gosh, this would be 10 times easier if I only had one type of thing. Right. But then there's so many times that those two are preoccupied with each other, like, and giving each other their attention. And I'm allowed to get some work done then off to the side or whatever it may be at the gym or whatever. And then you sit back and you're like, how awesome is this? I have one of each. I have a boy and a girl. And yeah, they are incredibly, incredibly awesome. Like, I am super, super lucky with those two as of now. Ask me in a year and we'll see if I still think I'm as lucky.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, what will you say?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine. It's probably one of the best and worst jobs ever. I mean, I don't know. Emma's commenting here. She's like, it's another beast, 4 years old. Oh gosh. Yeah. And it's kind of the beauty of that. But going back to kind of this also idea of community, right? Like, you have some pretty amazing people in your corner. And like, I know you've had some dark days. We all have dark days. Like, we all have days where it's just like this, like, I'm out, you know what I mean? And to be able to lean into those people and to have that support, I imagine is kind of second to none. Right?
Yeah. Well, and also, how lucky am I that I'm fortunate enough owning my own business that I have the ability to bring my kids to work on a daily basis, and for them they have a little playground that they have like during open gym that they get to run wild in. But I get to actually spend a lot of, although I'm on the road traveling a lot, the times that I am home, the amount of actual physical time that I get with my kids because of my job is awesome. Like, I know plenty of parents that it's not the case, right? Whether they're traveling or not, when they're home, they're in an office from, 9 to 5 or whatever it is. And they don't potentially get that time with their kids. And so I know I am very, very fortunate in that as well. It just, it brings an addition to the juggling act of what I have currently on my plate. Yeah,
definitely. It's kind of timely, Matt's kicking in here, hard working hard pays off.
I have a feeling that is Rick renaming himself as Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that's probably Matt Rick Fraser. No, but I mean, it sounds funny, but it's like a lot of these things that get tossed around on social media and like the desensitization here of, these words and these credos. And it's like, I mean, even Rick will play into you, but work hard, play hard, do the right thing. How you do anything is how you do everything. That's a big one here at Swolverine. You know what I mean? And it's like, you literally are in this like catalyst in this direction, I guess, that emerges as the catalyst to the next step in your life. Right. And as long as you can just like keep that direction, and this goes back to the training thing, this goes back to a lot of things we've talked about. As long as you can keep that path and keep the perseverance in the pursuit of what you're doing and being stubborn about that goal, being stubborn about where you're going, but being flexible about the method to get there, you might not even ever reach the goal per se, but might find that it's even more so the fruit of the journey that was worth it. Right. And that's and a lot of people are like, oh, it's so corny and fluffy, but it's like, yeah, it's fluffy as fuck and it's okay. I don't care. We're talking unicorns and they're rad, because it's like a lot of what people miss out on in life. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like what gives life depth. Like, cool, I'm a father. Great. I don't have to spend all my extra time with them. I don't have to like put them both in one arm and, try to figure out how to coach a class. Like, obviously you separate the two a little bit, but at the same time, like, it's choices, right? And being present within those choices and just making it so that like you feel good about what you're doing every day.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's pretty awesome. Oh, KP. Thanks.
Who has been another incredible addition to our staff.
Oh my gosh, she's so rad. For our audio listeners, we put up a little comment from KP, but KP is a part-time coach.
Yeah.
Right? She's also running nutrition for you guys.
Yeah, she is she's our nutrition specialist for the gym, but also a part-time coach who comes like with a ton of experience from the community already. She transferred over from another gym in town, and it has again been just another like awesome fit. And I can't reiterate enough the fact of like with Amanda, the Amandas and the KPs, like the ability to continue the diversity within our gym and in our coaching staff is actually like insane. And of like the type of people that are coaching. But more importantly, strong women as coaches, like in the fitness space is very like, it's a tough task. Like that is a, I talk about this often with the different female coaches that we have. And when we're bringing them on staff, like you're going to have your members that push the envelope a little bit, like question you and your abilities, right? Just naturally, because you're female. Like it's naturally going to happen. The story that I tell regarding Amanda is I remember, it didn't matter how much backing I gave Amanda early. I could hands and knees be bowing, saying that she is the best that is out there, right? There's still going to be people that want to figure that out for themselves. And so I remember we have a member, and I have no problem naming him. His name's Derek Westover, but I call him one of our geriatrics. But so we have a geriatric member. we have a member, Derek Westover, and Amanda was coaching a class that had bar muscle ups in it, and I believe another weight that was quite heavy prescribed for the females. But the bar muscle ups in particular, she got done briefing at the circle, and Derek looks at Amanda and goes, "I've got a question." She goes, "Yeah, what's up?" This is like week 1, like week 2. And he goes, "Can you do bar muscle ups?" And she just stood there and she was like, "I can." He goes, "Let's see them." and so she walks over and proves that she could do them. And he goes, "Okay, well done," and walks away. But what I'm getting at is the fitness space in general is predominantly led by males at the top in coaching, like space, especially when it comes to space that involves such heavy lifting on a regular basis, right? And so naturally, it's just going to be an intimidating role as a female to take ownership of a group setting in that. And I have some incredible staff that take that role and they freaking own it. And if they don't have the ability to do a particular movement, they all work incredibly hard at making sure they know how to teach that movement. Like, what are the progressions in getting you capable to eventually achieve or attain that movement and mastering that, right? But the strength in our staff is awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty great thing. Especially, I don't know, you've done a really nice job with the branding. You've done a nice job with like the community and just creating like this mutual feeling of respect, and even coming in there as a female business owner, with the company and coming in there and being respected by your community, like at first it's like, "So where did you come from? How long have you been here? What class do you come from? Because I don't see you." I'm like, "Wait, I don't go here." I'm like, "Well, who are you?" I'm like, "Hi, I'm Alex. I own Swolverine." And they're like, "What's that?" And I was like, "No, it's in your hand." And they're like, "Oh shit." "Oh shit." And it's fun. And it's just, I don't know, it's felt without. So I do agree with you, and I can validate like what you're saying is it's not a bunch of bullshit. You're not just like, "Yeah, cool female coaches,"
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's true. I mean, fitness industry, and it's something that is changing, you know what I mean?
But sure.
It's like, I've always believed that it's about the best person for that job. Right. And it's about putting the most accomplished, or like the person who can, really put the pen to paper. And then if they happen to have blue hair or purple hair, or they're male or female or whatever, it's like, that's the person who's the best for it. And so that's the most fun, I think. And it is weird. You know what I mean? Like, I asked somebody to be on the podcast the other day and like, "How about we go on a date first?" And I was like, "How about we just set a podcast date?" Okay. Let's just scratch all of this. Sorry, that's my soapbox. That's what I deal with. So, no, but I mean, in CrossFit too, like I think the strength of the women is like pretty prevalent. So it's fun.
Agreed. I think it comes with as much like, if you're able to like practice what you preach, And if you're going to be telling people to do something, you best be participating in some manner yourself as well. But more importantly, speak with confidence as a coach. Like the tone in your voice, how you are delivering something, like is going to change how it is received. If you're up there speaking with doubt in your voice and you're not convincing in what you're saying is the plan of attack for that particular workout, people are going to struggle to buy into it. Yeah, but
do you guys do like a kind of formal training for your coaches? Like what's your...
We do shadows. So I've always said from the beginning that I want Treeline to be a place that continues to educate and better like the athletes themselves and the members to move that the best that they can and gain as much understanding in why they are doing what they're doing as they want to learn. For some people, it's going to go one ear out the other at circle. For others, they're fully invested of like, why am I doing this? What's the best strategy to attacking this? What percentage of weights should I be doing to achieve the workout that is written, whatever it may be. But I've also said that for anyone that thinks they have a desire to coach, Treeline will be a stepping stone to figure out if that is true or not. Like what Amanda and I, we would not be where we are at if someone didn't give us the chance to at least like shadow and learn, right? If I wasn't given that opportunity, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to figure out if I liked it or not. And so I'm never going to tell someone no. If they want to shadow classes, by all means, come to as many classes as you want and shadow our coaching staff, like 100%. And we'll talk you through, be a listening ear of the different cues we're giving and whatever it may be. But shadow as much as you want. That doesn't guarantee you a spot on staff. Like yeah, here's a spot for you, here's a spot for you. But
you get a car.
Those that want to learn, yeah, you get a class. You get a class. You get a class.
Yeah.
But for the people that want to learn, by all means, like we've had quite a few people actually shadow classes and be part of our membership and learn from what we are doing. And then they have gone out and ended up opening their own gym or whatever it may be on outskirts of town and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I want it to be a stepping stone, not only for coaches, but for athletes too.
Well, and how it's going to affect the community.
Yeah.
Right. Bigger picture.
100%.
Right? Like we're not going to limit each other. There's enough success for everyone. Right. Yeah. So, this has been awesome. Also too, I don't think we touched on it, but you were also the assistant golf coach and more focused on like the strength and conditioning with the Oregon Ducks.
Oregon Ducks. Yep. Yeah. Last two and a half years. Yeah. That's been, for me, it's home. That's where I was at my first 2 years in college playing golf. And, Casey and I, who's the head coach there, have been close for quite some time. And there's just no reason for me not to assist in some way with them, especially now with like things that have transpired with HWPO Golf and being able to provide a specific program for them. And so that's been another kind of branch with the program. We've got, I think, 6, maybe 7 Division I golf teams that are on the program now and following it. And so that's been awesome. I just got off a call earlier this week with University of Arizona. And so bringing them on board hopefully here soon. And so word spreading with collegiate teams as well, because strength and conditioning coaches at that level are typically trying to climb the ladder to football. That's where the money is. Yes. That's where they can like be staffed and have longevity in their role and in their job. Whereas when they just come on staff, typically they're juggling 3 to 5 smaller teams. Golf typically is one of them. Maybe it's women's lacrosse, acro, whatever it may be. And so now they're writing 3 to 5 different programs for different sports. But more than likely, their background and what they're practicing with those sports is all with the bigger picture in mind, football. Like let me prove my worth to get to football. And the majority of those people just unfortunately don't know what to do for golf. And so it's a fine line, but getting a coach to actually like admit to that and be okay with that is hard, right? We're not trying to tell the coach how to do their job. We're just trying to provide a program for them that's going to occupy their most time. Anyone that's a coach and writes programs and does programming, that's like their time barrier. Like that's the thing that's going to occupy the most of their time. Let us provide you that, and you do what you love, which is coach. Like, monitor, make sure your athletes are moving well and being motivated, and that they're seeing the progress they need. But don't test movements on athletes that shouldn't be doing those movements.
Do you think it's a lack of training, like formal training and like studies and proven methods? Or do you think it's more so that it's like a niche sport and there's not really a community?
I think that's it. It's just still think it's so new.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much movement that golfers are doing that baseball players, tennis players could be doing as well, like some lacrosse as well on top of it, right? Anyone that's rotating in their sport should be rotating off of their playing field as well. But they should be rotating both ways.
They're like, I sleep on my left side. That's my rotation outside of sport. You're like, well, maybe let's try the right side. I mean, that's kind of like the garbage shit advice that's out there in like the training world right now for athletes in sports like that, right? It's like go fundraise by drinking some beer, and we'll see you on the links later. Like, what? Wrong. No. As far as the CrossFit Games, so I guess that's what's next, right? I mean, you're leaving
I leave Sunday.
So yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Sunday. I'm gonna drop the kids off in South Carolina with my parents, spend a couple days with them, and then I'll head out to Madison. The team will already be there, and I'm taking the lead on all the community workouts. And so we'll be at 2 local CrossFit gyms in town hosting sweat workouts, and then we will be on site at the games each evening at North Park hosting community workouts as well, including Thursday night is going to be close to 500 people. And so I'll be running a body weight workout for close to 500 individuals at North Park. So if anyone is going to be at the games in Madison, you can head to HWPO Training, our website, and sign up for those events and get locked in on attending those as well. But yeah.
Rad. Yeah. And just anyone out there, like Justin's a little intimidating looking in person. He always has like, there's those dads that mow their lawns in like the perfect line, or like, cut their.
Hey, I take a great pride in my landscaping as well at home. Yes, absolutely.
I haven't seen it, but some of the members said it looks like shit. They're like, Justin, he thinks he's got straight lines, must have had some tequila or something, because they don't look good. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But my bad. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, it might seem a little intimidating, might seem a little busy, but he's not. Obviously, if you guys have been listening halfway through this podcast, he's very, very intellectual, very smart, but also very open to sharing that knowledge and like giving you an opportunity to just pick his brain and be there and laugh with him. I don't know.
Banter. I love the banter.
He turns
bring the banter.
I'm just kidding. It's gonna be okay. When he turns, it's all right. We all turn pink at some point, but so at the games, that's gonna be really awesome. Catch some of the workouts there. You can also drop into Treeline. Treeline is outside of Eugene, again in Springfield. Don't say it's in Eugene. He will fight you. Make sure to follow him at Justin, JUSTIN.AHRENS for our audio listeners on Instagram. He might not accept your request, probably won't now that I'm saying that. His stuff is private and there's lots of pictures of the amazing little children. But, you could just send him a DM and say, hi, I want to be your friend. Follow the gym. They have also a lot of really cool instructionals, a lot of videos. You'll get to see Amanda on there and KP and some of the awesome coaches. But anyone who's like an affiliate owner, I think it'd be pretty cool for you to reach out to Justin to see what's made him successful. I mean, and I'm not just like blowing smoke up your ass. Like truthfully, we have partnered with Justin for years as a company. We know him professionally. It's a really cool, it's just synergy, and you're going to be inspired. You're going to learn something new. He's had a ton of mentors in the space. Obviously he name dropped like more people than I can remember their names. So, I
am very fortunate with the people that I have been able to rub shoulders with and like spend time around. And I think it's super important for anyone that like any level that wants to be the best at that role to just be a sponge around the people who have been successful and done it right, because they failed at some point as well. Oh, yeah. And they learned from it, right? And if they're good at what they are doing, they're going to be open to admitting what they have failed at so that you don't make the same mistakes that they did.
But I think typically in like people who are more successful at whatever their chosen endeavor is, like they failed hard. They didn't fail 40 times. I mean, maybe they did, but I mean, they fell flat on their face and scraped their knees and they found their way to get back up, and they don't want you to make the same mistakes as they did, you know? So it's like, be a student and ask questions and find out how to be successful and pursue excellence within your own life. And if you need a resource or you need a mentor or you need somebody to look up to, reach out to Justin, reach out to the coaches at Treeline, follow the pages.
Yeah, if I don't respond to your email, just email Amanda and she'll make sure that I respond to your email.
Emma can attest to that one. I can attest to that one. I got a text like 5 minutes before, like, oh, where do I go? No, I'm just kidding. That actually was my bad. But we're going to toss you under the bus because this episode's about you. So, all right. Anything else you want to add in here before we hop out?
Nah.
There's too much. But
all gravy.
Yeah, man. Gravy train for sure.
Gravy train.
Good God. Ride that gravy train to the CrossFit Games, and Justin will catch you up next time. Yeah. For anyone out there who's listening, thank you for tuning in live as well. We do have the Swole Friends podcast that we that we run on pretty much a weekly basis. We record live and beat bop all around the place because we're awkward. Tomorrow, we also have an incredible episode that I'd like you guys to tune into. We're going to be talking all about fitness and training with some pretty amazing people. So until next time, make sure to subscribe, follow Justin, and we will talk to you guys later.